Welcome to another STM32 programming lesson, and in this lesson we're going to learn how to use a debugging and how to add the breakpoints and step through the code and track every variable and the register value into the microcontroller. So you see we have the project opened up that we have created in our previous lesson. So if you have not watched the previous lesson, then I would suggest you to watch the previous lesson and create this project from scratch and then follow the video along. So the link is given in a video description for your reference. So you see we have this count variable, and the count variable value increment every time when the code loop through this while loop, and that happens every 1 second of delay because we have given this delay here. Now to start debugging to this STM32 project, we have this bug icon on the top menu bar. So the moment we click this bug icon, then it will bring our STM32 Cube project into the debugging mode. So that basically turn on the debug perspective on the STM32 CubeIDE. So it takes few moments and then it gives us this switch button. So click on switch and it will translate the C into the debug perspective. Once we enter into the debugging mode, we can scroll down and look at this code here. So this is the line that we are interested in. So if I start debugging here, you can see the count variable start increasing, but we have to watch and monitor this count variable. So I copy this count variable and then I go to live expression here, and you see this plus button. So when I click on plus button and I can paste, and then you see I have added this count variable and its value is 0. So if I click this top left corner, I have this resume button. So if I click on resume button, you can see the count variable value starts incrementing and it says 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's increment every second. So that means this we can able to track into the debugging session. But what if we want to loop through the code one by one, the line after line? So I just click this button right next to resume. It's suspend button. So click on, so it's suspend the debugging session. So we will go to main.c file, and then on a print statement here on this line number 98, we want to add the breakpoint. So double click on 99. You can either double click here to add the breakpoint or right click and say add breakpoint. So I will just click on add breakpoint and say apply and close. And now you see this dot is added right next to 98. So that's basically how we add the breakpoint. Or you can just simply double click and it will add this dot here. That's basically stands for the breakpoint. So now we have added the breakpoint. Now I click resume again, and now the code starts executing and it will come to the sprint F line of the code, and then it will stop because that's where we added the breakpoint. So the code execution stops there. And you see on the top menu bar we have this button says step over. So when I click on step over button, as many times as I click this button, you see it goes to next line of the code execution, and it execute line after line, and you see the value of this count incremented here. Okay, you can able to see it happens as I loop through the code, right? So that's basically how we can able to track this variable value. Now if I go to SWV ITM data console and if I click on start trace, okay, and then when I click on resume, then you can able to see, but it just doesn't show us because we have to start the trace before we run the debugging session. So it's not very important for us right now here. So let me just click on resume again, and let me click on start trace and then click on resume again, and now you see the counter value start reflecting here. Okay, the counter value is 24. So it doesn't go further because we have added the breakpoint here. That's why it's been there. So now I click again the step over again and again, and it will go to next line of code. You see, as many times as I click, it will go to next line of the code, and it will keep looping through the while loop, and you can see the value incremented in the live expression as well, and into this data console, SWV data console as well. So now once you know that the variable value that you can track, you can also add into the expression as well. So click on this plus button and add your variable name count, and now you see the value reflect here as well. So if you want to remove the breakpoint that we have added, then the good practice is basically to suspend the debug session and just double click, or you can just right click on line number 98 and you can say disable breakpoint, or you can just, as I said, just double click here. So let me just double click here to show you. Now the dot is gone and there is only arrow, which basically says that the code execution at this line of the code, which is 98. That's where we have our print statement. Now if I click on resume, then you can see the code resume from the place where it left off. So 29 is where it left off, and now the count value start incrementing, and you can able to see here it doesn't update because whenever we suspend it here, click on suspend, and now it only update. But you can press resume again, and now you see it again updates. But here you don't see the live data. For seeing the live variable value or the register value, you have to go to live expression, and you see in a live expression your value is incrementing 56, 57, 58 every second. So this is how you can add the breakpoint, and you can loop through the code line by line and able to track the variable value or the register value. I hope you have learned something from this video lesson. You can able to click this button which says terminate. So when you click on terminate, then it will terminate the debug session and it will take you back to your C++ perspective. So click on the terminate, and now we are in a C++ perspective. I hope you have found this video educational and entertaining. If you're trying to solve a problem and learn embedded systems, check out our Embedded System Career Plus course. The link is given in a video description or in a comment section. It's all you need to become a professional embedded developer. Thank you very much for your time and see you into the next video. Bye bye for now.